Welcome to my patent presentation. My name is Jassim Al-Azawi. The title of this patent, issued by the US Patent and Trademark Office, is Hard Disk Drive with Selectable Reading and Writing to and from Different Platter Surfaces, and the patent number is 7724458. This presentation will cover hacking and viruses, data classification and storage, and the function and impact of the main switch. To help us appreciate how the main switch combats viruses, it is helpful to remember what viruses do. Some viruses copy, steal, or delete user data. Others gain access to confidential information or record user activity. Users are often tricked into loading such viruses or allowing unauthorized access by whatever pathways, including removable data storage devices and network connections. So why do current storage devices fail against malicious viruses? The answer is because they provide limited means of segregating and protecting user data. The only way storage devices can currently be totally protected is by completely isolating any system, allowing no data to be loaded from the outside after factory setup, and providing no network connections of any sort. To understand how the main switch accomplishes its mission, let us remember the basic structure of a hard disk drive. A hard disk drive consists of platter surfaces, where each surface has its own read and write heads. A hard disk partition may consist of a single or multiple platter surfaces. Because data classification and storage critically impacts the function of the main switch, data may be classified into three categories. The first is the program files category, used for saving files such as Windows and Photoshop. Program files will be saved on the first partition, the so-called program partition, shown here in blue. The second is the confidential data category, which will be saved on the second partition, henceforth shall be referred to as the confidential data partition, shown here in green. The third is the internet data category. This type of data may contain viruses, therefore it will be saved on the third partition, henceforth shall be referred to as the internet partition, shown here in red. The core of this invention is a main switch that will be added to a hard disk drive. This main switch will turn on and off a combination of read and write heads of the hard disk drive. The net result? Viruses will be neutralized and hackers will be denied access to confidential data. By assuming four positions, the main switch will turn on and off the read and write heads of program partition, confidential data partition, and internet partition. The main switch may be placed on the side of keyboards in PCs and at the side of laptops to simplify access and use. The main switch may assume different positions, and the read or write heads will be green if they are switched on and red if they are switched off. So what happens when the main switch is in position 1, the so-called normal mode position? At this position, the write heads of the program partition are switched off. Thus, all installed program files, such as Photoshop, are safe and protected because the program partition is in the read-only mode and its writing capability has been switched off. Furthermore, both the read and write heads of the confidential data partition are switched on, both shown here in green. Thus, users may safely access and use their confidential personal and corporate data. Finally, all stored data will be safe from hackers and viruses because we are not surfing the internet, and the read and write heads of the internet partition are switched off, both shown here in red. This table summarizes the status of the different read and write heads when the main switch is in position 1, the so-called normal mode position. Because we are not surfing the internet and the read and write heads of the internet partition are switched off, all stored data will be safe from hackers and viruses. Furthermore, all installed program files, such as Photoshop, are protected because the program partition is in the read-only mode and its writing capability has been switched off. And because both the read and write heads of the confidential data partition are switched on, users may safely access and use their confidential personal and corporate data. When we want to surf the internet or download data from sources of questionable integrity, we shift the main switch to position number 2, the so-called safe mode position. At this position, all previously installed program files, such as Photoshop, will be protected because the right head of the program partition will be switched off, shown here in red. And because both the read and write heads of the confidential data partition are switched off, both shown here in red, all personal and corporate confidential data will be secure from hackers and viruses. And since we are surfing the internet, both the read and write heads of the internet partition are switched on, both shown here in green, to facilitate downloading and writing data on the internet partition. Finally, at the safe mode position, the read head of the program partition will be switched on, shown here in green, thus users will be able to use their already installed program files, such as Photoshop. This table provides a snapshot when the main switch is at the safe mode position while we are surfing the internet. Although both the read and write heads of the internet partition are switched on, both shown here in green, our confidential personal and corporate data are protected because both the read and write heads of the confidential data partition are switched off. Both are shown here in red. When the main switch is moved to position 3, the so-called download mode position, new program files can be downloaded from the internet onto the program partition. But before we start downloading anything, we have to shift the safety latch, situated between position 2 and 3, to allow the main switch to be shifted to position 3. Position 3 switches off only the read and write heads of the internet partition, both shown here in red, while all read and write heads of the other two partitions are switched on. All four heads are shown here in green. At this position, we may download new program files such as Photoshop, and upon completion of program installation, the main switch will be pushed back to position number 2, the so-called safe mode position, so that we may resume our normal daily work. Once back in position number 2, the safety latch will be locked again to prevent the user from moving the main switch back to position 3 accidentally. The first safety latch, situated between position 2 and 3, is designed to prevent the user from accidentally shifting the main switch from position 2 to 3. Notice that at the download mode position, the read and write heads of the internet partition are switched off. This is equivalent to removing this partition's arms. Consequently, no virus can be read at the download mode position, because what is left in essence are only some magnetic particles sticking on a rotating disk. When we want to format the computer for the first time, we must shift the main switch to position number 4, the so-called formatting mode position. To achieve that, the second safety latch must be moved back to allow the main switch to move from position 3 to position 4. At position number 4, all read and write heads are switched on, as all 6 heads are shown here in green. Position number 4 is securely protected by the second safety latch. This table shows the impact of moving the main switch from position 3 to position 4 when we want to format the computer for the first time. To achieve that, the second safety latch, situated between position 3 and 4, is pulled back to allow the main switch to move to position 4. When formatting is completed, the second latch is pulled back again to allow the main switch to return to position 3. The internet has revolutionized the world of communication and brought us a world of possibilities, but it has also shown us the dark side of the digital age. Today, nasty viruses circle the globe, lurking in hard disk drives and bogus software, ready to attack computers, paralyze giant corporations, and wreak havoc on a global scale. The resulting financial losses can be measured in billions of dollars, and an entire industry has developed to combat this problem. This invention will put an end to this global menace.